Michael Stone, a seasoned park ranger, was patrolling the dense Yukon forest when an agonizing cry shattered the morning peace. The eerie, unnatural sound sent chills down his spine, signaling that something was terribly wrong. With years of experience, Michael had heard countless animal calls, but this one was different. It was filled with pain and desperation. His instincts told him to be cautious, but his heart urged him to investigate the source of the distressing sound. As he moved deeper into the forest, he finally stumbled upon a heart-wrenching sight: a massive grizzly bear trapped in a cruel snare. The bear's front paw was caught in a steel-jawed trap. Its head was ensnared in a wire noose, and barbed wire had tangled around its hind legs. The creature was in agony, letting out pitiful groans as it struggled helplessly. Michael, who had seen the horrors of poaching before, was overcome with sorrow and fury at the barbarity of the situation. However, he knew he had to proceed with caution, as an injured bear could be unpredictable and deadly. Determined to help, Michael placed his rifle on the ground as a gesture of peace and slowly approached the suffering animal. The bear let out a low, rumbling growl, but its eyes held a mixture of fear and pleading. Speaking softly, Michael reassured the bear while assessing the situation. With steady hands, he retrieved a pair of bolt cutters from his pack and began the painstaking process of freeing the bear, starting with the steel trap clamped onto its paw. With great effort, he managed to snap it open, releasing the bear from its torment. Despite its pain, the bear remained surprisingly still as Michael carefully removed the wire noose and barbed wire entangling its body. Once the last restraint was gone, the exhausted animal lay motionless, barely able to move. Knowing the bear was in critical condition, Michael quickly called the nearest wildlife clinic for help. As he relayed his coordinates, he remained by the bear's side, whispering reassurances as he waited anxiously for the rescue team to arrive. When the wildlife clinic's team finally reached the scene, they were horrified at the extent of the bear's injuries. Working swiftly, they sedated the bear and transported it to their facility, where it would receive urgent medical care. Michael could do nothing but watch as the truck drove away, carrying the bear's fate in the hands of the veterinary team. However, he was left with a simmering anger. Whoever had set these traps was still out there, free to harm more animals. In the days that followed, Michael became relentless in his pursuit of the poachers. He set up surveillance cameras in known hunting areas and scoured the forest for any signs of illegal activity. Meanwhile, updates on the bear, now named Bruan by the clinic staff, were grim. Infection had set in. The veterinarians had done everything in their power, cleaning his wounds, treating infections, and ensuring he regained his strength. Though he would always carry the scars of his ordeal, the bear had healed enough to return to the wild. The day of his release arrived, and Michael was there to witness it. Standing near the open transport cage, Michael watched as Bruin hesitated for a moment, his powerful frame still bearing the marks of his suffering. But then, as if sensing his long-awaited freedom, the bear took a cautious step forward. The scent of the forest filled his nostrils, the whisper of the wind through the trees, calling him home. With one last glance at Michael, as if in silent gratitude, Bruin turned and lumbered into the dense greenery, disappearing into the vast wilderness. Michael exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Relief, pride, and a deep sense of purpose filled him. He had done what he set out to do, given the bear a second chance at life. But his work wasn't over. The poachers were still out there, and he vowed to continue his mission to protect the forest and its inhabitants. As he packed up, the vet clapped a hand on his shoulder. "You did good, Ranger. Not many would have risked what you did for that bear." Michael simply nodded, his eyes still fixed on the spot where Bruin had disappeared. It was the right thing to do, he said quietly. The sun was setting as he made his way back through the trees, the golden light filtering through the canopy. Somewhere in the distance, the faint sound of a bear's call echoed through the forest, a sound not of pain, but of strength. Michael smiled, knowing that Bruin was finally where he belonged.